After weeks of speculation, the FIA has finally confirmed that Aston Martin and Red Bull had breached Formula One's cost cap for 2021. What kind of penalties will these two teams have to face? Will Verstappen be stripped of his 2021 driver's title? Stay tuned to find out. The offence committed by Aston Martin was procedural. More specifically, the team violated several processes governing the budget cap, but it was still able to stay within the limit of $145 million. The procedural breach was related to a number of administrative accounting and reporting protocols. Red Bull Racing, however, was found to have exceeded the cost cap while powering Max Verstappen to the championship last year. With one wave of speculation finally ended, a new one is about to get underway. And this time, the focus will be on the FIA and what it will do next. What step will the FIA take? I will talk about that in a moment, but first, let me clarify what the cost cap applies to. Formula One is a very technical sport, therefore it should come as no surprise that the cost limit encompasses a wide variety of various expenditures. The main ones include anything connected to the vehicle's performance. This includes any car parts, equipment required to operate the vehicles, the majority of the team's personnel, any garage equipment, even spares, and any transportation costs. This list does not include the engine since it is difficult. Some teams buy their engines while others make their own. Because of this, the engine is not included on this list. However, it does have its own cost regulations. It may come as a surprise to learn that the cost cap does not apply to the compensation of the drivers, nor does it apply to the earnings of the three members of the team who make the most money. Other expenditure categories, including travel budgets, marketing expenditures, legal and property fees, employee bonuses, sick leave and staff medical benefits, and other staff-related costs are not included in the cost cap. So now you have an idea of the areas where Red Bull might have probably spent the stipulated amount. But how serious was Red Bull's breach? Before we talk about how serious the breach was, I know you're enjoying this video. So for you to not miss out on my other amazing videos, hit the subscription button and give this video a thumbs up. It's that easy. Thanks for doing that. Let's move on. A minor breach of up to 5% may not sound like much, but $7.25 million is a significant amount of money at the pointy end of development. When the allegations were first made public, Mercedes boss Toto Wolff said, "I think the word minor is probably not correct because if you're spending $5 million more and you're still in minor breach, it still has an impact on the championship. We know exactly that we are spending $3.5 million a year on parts that we bring to the car. Then you can say what difference it makes to spend another $500,000. It would be a big difference. Every spend more has a performance advantage." Speaking in Japan, Lewis Hamilton said even $1 million would bring a significant amount of performance. He said, "I remember in Silverstone last year, we got our last update. I remember that was almost 0.3 seconds, and I'm pretty certain it cost less than $1 million. It's so integral to the development race. If we'd had another $500,000 to spend, we would have been in a different position as some of the following races." It appears that both Wolff and Hamilton are referring to the costs of manufacturing rather than accounting for the research and development into the parts, but this highlights how significant a minor breach could be. In other terms, Ferrari equated a 5% overspend to the equivalent of the wage bill for an extra 70 engineers. Ferrari racing director Laurent Mekies said, "70 engineers will give you a serious amount of lap time. This is why we are very much looking forward to a transparent and severe approach." Despite the widespread rumors and the numerous delays to the FIA publishing the certification data after regular consultations with the financial officers of all the teams, Red Bull Racing says it had no idea it would be found to be in violation of the regulations. Red Bull stated in a statement they released, "We note the findings by the FIA of minor overspending breaches of the financial regulations with surprise and disappointment. Our 2021 submission was below the cost cap limit, so we need to carefully review the FIA's finding as our belief remains that the relevant costs are under the 2021 cost cap amount. Despite conjecture and positioning of others, there is of course a process under the regulations with the FIA which we will respectfully follow while we consider all the options available to us. That process comprises a couple of different routes forward. The first possibility is that Red Bull Racing will admit it overspent and take the sanction handed down by the FIA. It's been suggested that if the team was so inclined, this week's disclosure of the violation would have been followed by the penalty and an admission of responsibility. If Red Bull intends to maintain its position that its accounting was accurate and that it was able to finish the previous season under the cost cap, then the team has the option of taking the subject to a specially constituted tribunal in order to have the matter decided upon. In the event that it disagrees with the decisions made by the tribunal, they have the option of taking the case to the FIA International Court of Appeal, which is the highest level of appeal body in motorsport. They could then push the matter up to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. The same applies to Aston Martin. Although procedural breaches are punished with fines, it is quite doubtful that the team will take the matter further. Due to the fact that Red Bull Racing has only committed a minor breach and not a major breach, the team will not be subject to any mandatory penalty and will not be kicked out of the championship or banned from races. However, the FIA can still deduct points from the previous season for the Constructors' or Drivers' Championships. Because Max Verstappen won the championship by a margin of only 8 points over Lewis Hamilton, a reversal of the title result is still a theoretical possibility. The team runs the risk of being penalised with a lower cost cap and development allowance for future seasons, in an effort to make up for the advantage it gained from exceeding its budget for last year, which is likely to have carried over into the development of the vehicle it used this season. It might alternatively be slapped with a fine or a mere reprimand, but neither option would satisfy the sport because both would be laughably soft for a team whose financial might is supported by Red Bull energy drinks. It would also establish a precedent in which teams consider a punishment to be nothing more than the cost of doing business, giving the go-ahead to the wealthiest teams in particular to routinely violate the cost cap. A penalty of this leniency would almost immediately bring about the collapse of the agreement for the cost cap. It would catapult the sport back to the old days when it was plagued by financial instability and spending arms races. It will not be simple to decide on a punishment that may reach back into one of the championships that saw the closest competition in recent memory. The FIA's level of transparency on the procedure should be prioritised above all other considerations. Confidence in the cost cap and its administration is absolutely crucial to its success. It may be catastrophic to give the impression that breaching the cost cap comes with no serious punishment. The first major test case may demonstrate that the financial regulations are robust and stand up to scrutiny. Even if Red Bull is successful in defending its stance, this may pave the way for more stringent laws in the year to come. However, if there is proven overspending and the punishment is not, or cannot be, as strict as the cost cap administration wants it to be, it might jeopardize the cost cap's integrity and future. This also puts the FIA and the presidency of Mohammed bin Sulayem to the test in terms of their ability to maintain transparency and effectively regulate the sport. Speaking in Japan, Ferrari team principal Mattia reckoned it was better for the FIA to be too harsh than try to brush the matter under the carpet. He said, "What's important for us is whatever will be the breach, if any breach, the penalty has to be significant, because believe me, that our cars today in Japan tried to fight for the best position. These are cars that have been developed maintaining, respecting the budget cap itself, and we know how much, even if it's a minor breach, how much it would have implied in terms of performance. I mentioned 5 million is about half a second. Even 1 or 2 million is about 1 or 2 tenths, which is obviously about from being second on the grid or being on pole and maybe having the fastest car. Obviously, it's about 2021, and from 2021, it's an advantage you gain over the following seasons. I think what we need and what I'm expecting is full transparency and clarity on the discussions that may have happened. Now, it is time to know what you think about this. What punishment do you see Red Bulls receiving for breaching the cost cap? Let me know in the comments section below. That will be all for today's video. Thanks for staying tuned. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you can always get to watch more amazing videos like this. See you in the next video.